And now, Nutan versus the Ramadars, Part 1. When a mutated superhuman became the captain of a ship called Mutainia, little did he and his peaceful crew realize that it contained a robot with a mind control array, and that Mutainia was actually an incredibly powerful weapon designed by a robot race to lower the defenses of the Earth's galaxy for invasion. All looked lost for Earth's forces until this captain became free from the robot's mind control array, beat holy hell out of the powerful robot, and turned Mutainia's powers on its makers. It's been no easy job, though, for the now liberated captain and crew have zero credibility, have to deal with bounty hunters spawned from galactic vengeance, and have to contend with a robot race that knows the great power they've created that is now turned on them. Realizing what's coming at them, the robot race of Industro is trying to use all the power of their god, their computer god, Bog, to try to stop Mutainia and its now liberated, wrathful Captain Nutan. And now, from the science fiction series, The Strange Universe of Nutan, the story, Nutan versus the Ramadars. Again, Part 1 here. Mutainia, the mighty ship of Nutan, wandered on through the galaxy. It was an ordinary day on the ship, as Nutan and crew jammed away on musical instruments to see if they could make Mutainia, also the name of their band, into another big musical group. Although LPs, CDs, and DVDs were a thing of the past, distant past, there was one planet that still sold albums on records made of vinyl, and Nutan and his crew thought that if they could produce a great music album, maybe their creativity would get around and possibly lessen the vengeance directed at them. If that day never came, though, they still enjoyed making music to pass the time away as they traveled through the universe, while the ship's computer scanned for interesting planets they might want to investigate. When the crew finished their jam session, Nutan smiled, but then said, it still needs work. Suddenly, the computer began to tell them that they were getting in close range to planet Patanar, which definitely rang a bell for the ship's captain and crew. Take us into orbit around Patanar, Nutan commanded the computer. Suddenly, as Mutainia passed by one of the planet's moons, 10 ships flew around from behind the moon and began attacking Mutainia with powerful blasts of energy, shaking its crew about violently. One of the ships was a USS Starship from Earth. "Surrender to the Federation, or thou shalt be destroyed, Nutan," said the captain from the starship leading the attack. And Mutainia was hit by the best the 10 ships could strike it with. "Their weapons seem to have become stronger since last time," said one of the crew on Mutainia. "I wonder if that goes ditto for their shields," said Nutan, bouncing around in his throne from the latest barrage. Nutan then ordered a counterattack. Within a minute, the blitz Mutainia sent out at the attackers had all the attacking ships badly damaged. "We haven't killed anyone, have we?" Nutan asked one of the censor's officers. There was concern in his voice. "I can't tell, Nutan. One of their weapons knocked out the sensors for a while." Mutainia was hardly being budged from the attackers now. Nutan ordered a volley of more energy missiles until none were shooting back. The captain of the crippled starship hailed Mutainia. A lot of cussing in the King James dialect filled Mutainia's bridge, followed by a scolding and an accusation in King James English that if Nutan was no longer evil, he would surrender his ship and go peacefully into custody for crimes against the cosmos. "And who gets control of Mutainia?" he responded. "Power corrupts, and absolute power, you know. Besides, how do you not know that if I gave you Mutainia, that whoever was in control of Mutainia would end up secretly being replaced with a robot replicant from Industro. The damn robot race I managed to take this ship from. Thou sayest, marked the starship captain, robots none hast seen. Sure, thou art under control of them. Sure, thy destroying of worlds was not thine doing. There was a pause. Nutan looked at his crew and said, am I dreaming? What's with all this thee and thou malarkey? Not unless we're dreaming with you, said Callisto, the most alien-looking of all on the bridge of Mutainia. Nutan smiled and said, again, what's with all this thee and thou crap? The captain of the ship looked even angrier and said, Scientists recently did discover that the dialect of such helpless rulers rule better when one didst speak in such manner, so that now I has been programmed to speaketh as such. Programmed? Nutan nearly shouted. The captain of the Earth's ship then revealed in his own way that he was artificial. The captain then went on and said, Scientists did become interested of the power of her dialect, when so many holy books of the 19th century and on into the 20th were translated into said sounding phrasing. One of Nutan's crew looked confused, like, what? Nutan looked at his crew and said, Gad, maybe Industro did take over Earth? A robot is commanding one of our ships. The robot captain then said, Those of the Federation trusteth mine logical reasons of command. I beat all the humans in the Academy. Nutan's crew noticed a bit of pride in the robot captain. Nutan then said, Well, robot or man, you aren't getting my ship. Let's see you try to use your programmed logic of command to get me to surrender. I mean, use your logic and powers of deduction, if thou wilt. How, pray tell, did someone like me, or of all people, acquire this ship? Am I that brilliant to be able to create a ship as this? Thou probably didst pirate it, using thy mighty mutant powers. If what thou sayest is true, why didst thou attack Earth twice? After thou sayest thou didst wrestle free from Industro power, shouted the robot with programmed Captain Fury. Nutan, knowing the story of what really happened and how incredibly stupid and untrue it sounded, paused and smiled, saying, I know it sounds like I'm lying, but it's true. When we entered the Earth's solar system, and the sensors detected Earth in view, there was a computer virus planted in the ship's computer, unbeknownst to us all, planted and waiting for the time we'd return to Earth a second time. It was, apparently, secretly put in there by the satanic robot Zintar, just in case I was able to free myself from Industro mind control. It was one of Industro's fail-safe devices, shouted Sheena in a desperate attempt to back up her captain. Nutan then shouted with growing fury as horrible memories flooded back. Every little bit of data we were receiving from Earth was not what the computer on the ship were telling us, and everything we were telling you on Earth was not our words at all. I mean, really. We thought we were helping Earth fight off, runaway, nanotechnology, the cities that were incinerated. Look, to all of us on Mutainia, to be an encroaching blob of nanobots in the Nevada desert. We thought for sure we were firing in one area from what the ship's sensors were providing. We had no idea that we were hitting multiple targets in many cities. You have got to believe us. Why didst thou not beam us down to Earth first? Screamed the starship robot captain with fury. The man on the viewing screen, who looked just like the president, then it responded with, the man on the viewing screen looked just like the president of Earth, sounded very convincing that Earth was in danger and needed help. I mean, we showed you the playback of what we were viewing. He was very convincing to us that nanobots were in the air and would have contaminated the ship if we beamed back, roared Newton back. Roared Newton with absolute fury.